today's topic, which is called Give Back. And, it's kind of fun because when you give first, it's amazing what will come back to you. It's just a wonderful, wonderful thing. And there's a couple of ways that you can give back to your customers. And some of this is generic marketing as well. And some of it does apply to the app. So depending upon what your particular niche is, you can do a variety of things within your app. You can have in-app specials that are only for people who download your app, whether that be, a service that you are providing, an extra bonus that you're providing, whether it's like a report or something that's strictly for the app. One of the things that I do recommend for retail spaces especially is to have some kind of a loyalty type program. And to be able to say, okay, every time you come in-app specials only, you get a punch card and eventually you might get a free service. If you're a business that is looking to do like you can't really give away free stuff per se, you should be able to give away reports, content, maybe if you're doing courses, a free day, like here, this think tank that I do. Maybe you want to come on in and you're wanting to try us out for a month. That's something that I do. I give it away. So giveaways are one thing when they're part of your services. And a lot of times services don't really cost as much as you think to give away a little bit. I'm not saying give away the store by any means. That's not what I'm looking at here. Another thing that you might want to do is actually give a thank you card, or to give a physical tchotchke type, everything from pop-ups. I like to do something that is pertinent. So I do pens sometimes that have the stylus on the end because I'm an app developer. So, and being an app strategist, this kind of reminds me of what we can do. Another thing that you could do is something that is kind of catchy that also advertises your app. On every and anything you do, make sure people know you have an app. So if you're even doing as simple as a coaster, right? You want to put on there how to, download our app so people know to start looking for you. So tchotchkes, giveaways, you can even have little contests within your app. Reasons for people to download the app. I had one client that did like a scavenger hunt. In fact, this particular client, it wasn't even their app. So what had happened, a local, this is something I really take a look at your own audience, right? What they did is their app was a t-shirt app. And he did clothing articles and stuff like that. The local small town was doing a Halloween trick or treat for businesses for the kids. And there was probably 400 to 500 kids total. So maybe about 150 families. He actually donated a couple of tabs on his app for the event only. So he was the sponsor of the event. He had taken a couple of the tabs, turned them into like a trick or treat type thing where each business, the kids would go around to each business and they would like scan a QR code so they get a token. And then they were entered into a drawing afterwards. So he got 150, actually by the time all was said and done, because of multiple devices, he got 300 downloads of his ideal audience. Who buys t-shirts? Families, right? He got his ideal audience and he did nothing. The town had advertised for him. To be part of this, you had to download the app. To be able to participate, he had the different businesses actually pay him to advertise on his app. So it was all donated. He took all that money and donated it back to the city. But he now has a new audience to talk to, and he didn't get it. So it's a third party reference. You could do the exact same thing if you have like an event. So let's just say, Melinda, we'll use you for example. Let's say there's a fisherman's event. I know they have sporting events, you know.
Tournaments.
Right. This is your ideal audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could go to the people and say, hey, I want to give you a few tabs so that we can list the event, so that we can show who the speakers are. We can have the different vendors can help, you know, promote, find us on. We can have the different vendors have their information on it. So you can now have massive people who are your ideal audience downloading your app because they have to use it at the event. So they can see what booth they're in, they can see what the different stuff is, etc. So it's a way to capture an audience, and all you've done is given it to them. You've given back. You don't necessarily have to make money on it. You can, if you want to, if you want to charge the different vendors there within, you know, for something, but I don't think you're going to get as good of a traction if you actually just give it. But now look at the different promotion. Stacy, you might want to meet up with people from job fairs, because who's looking for jobs, you know, our kids. And I know you're not just strictly doing kids, but that whole, you know, adolescent, young adult, etc. You could look at like job fairs and different areas where people live. So look to see where people live. We have a doggy grooming group. She actually can work with little small fairs in the area that are just strictly about pets and dogs, and, you know, get that. Does that make sense? Did that spark any questions?
Right now.
So there's a lot of things that we can do in the community to keep on advertising more.
Right.
That area. Okay.
Right. And this way you're getting other people, I call them OPAs, other people's audiences, to realize who you are. And you've stepped away from social. Not that there's anything wrong with social. There's a whole time that we're going to talk about social and social promotions and ways to get downloads and ways to monetize your app to social. Nothing wrong with social. But this gives another level that's away from social, that you are now going to get people interested in your app, and you're going to get people to participate in promoting you, your business, and your app. Now, afterwards is where the magic happens. So you can, it's kind of, think of downloads that they're like likes on social. Okay, other than the difference is you own that traffic. Okay, these are your people now, right? Mm-hmm. But if you get all kinds of likes and follows on social, and then you do nothing with it, downloads are the same way. If you don't do anything with it, then that's where your problem is. So what you want to do after the event, and even throughout the event, but more so after the event, is you want to reach out to these people through push notices, through being able to post some great content on there, because you'll eventually take the pages down, then the tabs down for these events. You're gonna take those down because they have no more relevance, but the downloads you're still gonna have. So you're gonna want to reach out to these people and get them engaged, and that's how the give back can come back around to you in just a fantastic way. You know, you might want to have a special just for people who were part of the event. And again, we're back to things that are app specials only. And you can advertise that too. You can easily put out there and say, this is strictly for app people who have downloaded our app, right? And be able to do that. Another way for giving back is to actually partner with other people to help promote and co-collaborate. So for example, and we're going to talk about this more in a different session, where you want to start to give good content back through other people. So for example, maybe I'm looking for a blog post. Now I'm very particular about guest blogging that I will do, but you might have a great message that you know would fit for somebody. You would be surprised. And I mean, it has to be a real one. It can't just be somebody sending an email out that says, hey, I'll blog for you, blah, blah, blah. It has to be very specific. So like, let's just say fishing equipment, right? I want to reach out to a fishing supplier and that has a good blog going on, has a good following, and just saying, hey, I wrote this blog about how to maximize from charters. Is that something you would be interested? Here's my actual article that I want you to look at. Because if you do this where you just are randomly saying, hey, I'll blog for you, talk to me. No, I get those kind of messages all the time of, hey, I see you have a great blog, let me be on there. No, it has to be very specific and very targeted.
Sam, what have you used for your clients? I mean, what have they used? Anything that you...
Within marketing their apps?
Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of times it's a balance between PR and timing and retention, right?
Okay.
So that's kind of the trifecta. So as long as you get your name out there loud enough on like a few occasions, and then keep it consistent and engage your audience with new content and new information, then not only will you keep that audience, but you'll also grow as word of mouth builds. Because with an app, it's good to do ads and things like that, but it's what's really going to pay off more in the long run is being good to your audience.
And being interacting back and forth constantly. Do you think that's good?
That's not, don't interact constantly, because you don't want to, because that's too much, you know. You don't want to there's definitely apps I've deleted because they send me too many notifications, right?
Okay.
And
what would you suggest as a good number?
Oh, it depends on your audience, and it depends on what the app is, right?
Mm-hmm.
If your app is, like I have an app on my phone that connects to the laundry machines in my apartment building, right?
Mm-hmm.
It only sends me notifications when I do laundry, and I like it just that way. And I don't engage with it in any other way.
Good viewpoint.
But yeah, but if they wanted it to be like the place that I did everything, like it was like where I like checked in on, I bought my soap through there, and it like had reminders and all this stuff of like, hey, you should probably do laundry, all this kind of stuff.
Right.
Then I would appreciate a notification from them every once in a while and things like this. When it comes to newsletter for marketing and building contacts like that and bringing in new clients, again, it depends on what your product is. Because like one of the products that we recently put through is, and it's actually a web app, so it's a little bit different.
Okay.
But it is an event-based connection platform, right? So you go to an event and you are able to find a list of all the other people who are attending before and after and during. And you can swipe on those people and you can connect with people at that event.
That's nice.
Yeah. And for that app, right, a lot of the marketing is done through the event organizer, right? So it's when the event gets promoted by the event organizers, they also put in a link to create your account with this service, and it's all together. But it's also good to have content for things like that, and so on and so forth. So it depends on who your audience is. Think about like the ideal person who would use your app and how they're going to want to be talked to and how they're going to want to be engaged with. And then that's who you go after.
Okay. Exactly. The other thing is you want to look at your timing throughout the year. You know, Melinda, you want to take a look as to when your audience needs to be talked to, if you will. And, you know, since yours is in the charter fishing area, depending upon where they are within the United States will also depend upon how often they want to be contacted. You may have fishing tournament time where, you know, daily push notices about that for maybe a 2-week period of time might be very good. But then you may have longer periods of time where it's like, well, I can't do anything with this, so I don't want to, I don't want to know. Or in opposite time, where you want to push it when it's quiet, because that's when they have the time to take the courses. The other thing that you want to do when you're working with your audience, speaking of push notices, is see if you can segregate or give people options for which push notices they get. So you might only want to receive push notices that are for podcasts. You might want to receive only push notices when new things are coming up. You might want to receive notices all the time, depending. So you want to be able to segregate that. And there's certain softwares that will allow you to offer that option to people, so that they can go from there. And Stacy, you might have it where certain times of year based on different events is a good time for you to reach out to your audience. And sometimes it's a matter of just giving content to your customers that is relevant, but not salesy. You always want to remind them that you are more educational, to go from there.
Okay.
Yep.
That is extremely important. I think that especially when it comes to content generation, your content should never pitch your business, not a single time. All it should do is talk about ideas and concepts and appeal to people's higher feelings, and they will come back and buy from you. That's you know what I mean? If the goal is really to make a sale or get a download, right, then that will happen. It's about exposure and sharing your knowledge with everyone around. So yes, I completely agree, Nancy.
Yep. And that's part of the give back, giving of your knowledge to people. And I know of some wonderful marketers who give away everything, and they do it in such a way that they're sharing all the good stuff. They're not keeping the good stuff just for the private people, but because they're giving away the good stuff, people come to them because they want to actually work with them and get the deep dive on the good stuff. There's a number of very serious business people that I've actually gravitated to and worked with, because in a weekend, excuse me, they've given everything, but I can't absorb it all that fast. Ryan could give all the tips and tricks and secrets of being having a great charter experience, but nobody can grab that. So they want to take his course so they can take it a little piece at a time. Stacy, same thing with yours, is that, you've got a wealth of knowledge that you're going to be giving to people, but they can't absorb it all at once. But when you come from that give first, it's amazing how people will come back right around, and they're going to point people to you because of that. Oh yeah. Talk to Melinda, because they are definitely going to just tell you the answer. They're going to give you this great content. They're not going to try to sell you anything. I mean, how many times have you gotten a referral where people say, no, talk to them. They're not going to try to sell you anything. And by the end of that conversation, you've actually bought from these people, because it's like, oh, wow, I got to choose. That's what it boils down to. You want your audience to choose to work with you, not feel like they've been sold to work with you. You don't want buyer's remorse. I've actually had that where people, after I've done a presentation, I've had people stand up and say, no, you want to talk to Nancy, because she'll tell you straight out if your app idea is crap or if it should move forward. Because I've done that. I've had ideas come to me, and it's, from people, and it's like, oh, I don't think we should do that. And I've had others that what they thought they were going to do through our discussion have just blossomed into something even better. And it's gone more and more. So it is very, very important to give back. People want to feel value is what they're looking for. So that's those are just some ideas, some tips and tricks to be able to get those downloads, stay engaged with the people. You want to also, when you are getting your downloads, you want to try to capture email addresses. In fact, that is another thing you can do on your landing page, where you can say, download our app, and you can ask for you can have the links in the back, but as people are on the page, you can ask for their email address so you can email them the links. and have it set up on the landing page so it automatically goes to them. Hey, thanks for visiting our site. If you're interested in our app, here is the link for the stores.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And that way you've captured their email as well. And you've asked them, do you want to keep getting information from us?
Can you do both?
Yeah.
Can you do it that you collect the email and then you also send them the link?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And you want to be able to have it on the store, on your landing page. You want to have the links there so people don't have to wait for an email to get it.
Okay.
But you still want to try to capture their email if you can. You can also capture their email by having them register as a user on the app.
Okay.
And that way you are capturing and you're seeing who's doing what. App analytics are really important for making changes that are needed within your app.
Okay.
So you can capture it on that end as well so that you have it. Again, you want to own this traffic. You don't want to just make it a social post, and you definitely don't want to make it a bounce. People won't give you their email if they don't want to, but they will give it to you if they know that you're giving them value and a reason. You don't want to, newsletters are still great. They're still a wonderful way to advertise. They're still a great way to give content and creation, but people are deleting emails faster than and they're unsubscribing really quick, really quick. Think about your own habits. You read the newsletters that always have good content. You delete the ones that don't. And after you've deleted it, maybe 3, 4, 5 months in a row, you go, why am I still subscribed here? I'm getting a little tired of getting Groupon's emails every day telling me that there's new specials. Yeah, I'm aware. In fact, today I have just unsubscribed from Groupon's, not unsubscribed from Groupon itself, but unsubscribed from their emails because I don't need to be reminded all the time. When I'm looking for something, I will go look at it and go from there. The best way to create the best strategy is to think about your own habits. You are no different than anybody else. How do you like to be marketed to? What kind of givebacks do you like to get? How can you give more and give that to people? Treat people the way you'd like to be treated.
One thing that I can say off the top is, and this is something that I thoroughly believe in and how we iterate with our clients, is that when you want to try something out, when you're trying to a new strategy with the marketing or engagement with your users, there's a lot of people in the world. And if you try it, and if it doesn't go well the first time, that's just exposure for the people who didn't respond. And the other folks, the people who did sign up, even if it's just 2, that's fine. A/B testing is one of the most key pieces, and making sure that regardless of how you're trying to reach those users, you are continually trying, and you over time will learn not only more about who that ideal person may be, but also how your audience is a reflection of that person.